Hello everybody and welcome to our maths lesson. Now, well done to all of you who've been working really hard at home and doing all our home learning and keeping up with all the lovely things we've got on My Maths. So well done to all of you. Today's lesson is going to build on last week's maths, where we looked at the four operations and how to use them. So we're going to focus in on using addition and subtraction to solve problems. In this lesson today, we'll be using two of the strategies that were taught in the home learning video lesson last week. So you may want to go back and watch the video by Mrs. Rofer from about 8 minutes and 36 seconds through to 13 minutes 48, just to refresh and recap the column addition and subtraction methods. If you want to pause the video now, you can go and do that. Okay, well done. So we're going to start off our lesson with some arithmetic. Now I've got a 4-minute timer up here, but what I'd like you to do is to pause your video and see if you can find your own timer and give yourself 4 minutes to have a go at these four questions, and then we'll go through the answers after. So pause your video now. Okay, well done. So with number one, we should have been looking for the first digit in the number to see which is the lowest. Now we've got a 1 and a 0, so straight away this number with a 0 is going to be smaller, and I've got another one over here. So these are going to be my two smallest numbers. So they're probably going to be here. And then to look at which is the smallest again, I go across to my next column. And in my tenths, this one's got a 9. And in this one, my tenths column, it's got a 0. So this number is smaller. So this is going to be my first one. And then 0.99 be my next one. And by using that same method, this number will be next, 1.025. And the largest one will be 1.25. Okay. Number two, now we need to remember that we're using BIDMAS and BODMAS to know the order of which one we're doing first. So we need to do 60 times 40 first. You can use 6 times 4, which is 24, and then your zeros back on to make 2,400. And we need to remember to take away the 20, which would leave us with 2,380. On to number three. We've got 4 squared, which means 4 times 4. And we've also got 6 squared added on, which means then add 6 times 6. So if we add those two up, we have 52. And number 4, we've got 17.4 divided by 1,000. Now when you divide the number, it's going to get smaller. So our digits are going to move to the right. 1,000 has 3 zeros, so we move it 3 places to the right. So remember, digits are going to move right 3 places, and we will end up with 0.0174. Okay, well done for that. And we're going to move on to the big picture. So you will need to use column addition or subtraction in many real life situations. When you're shopping, if you're an accountant, dealing with money and numbers, keeping records, lots of different times. So this is a very useful life skill. Our key vocabulary for the lesson is using addition and subtraction, obviously. Place value, because that's going to be important when using our columns. All right. Remember, we need to try and use our 4 Bs today. If we're going to get stuck, use your brain, ask a buddy, use bits and bobs if you've got any, then ask the boss. And we also have our growth mindset manifesto, where you need to keep pushing yourself and challenging and being resilient. Right, to begin with, we're going to do a my turn, where I'm going to explain and go through an example, and you can follow my kind of reasoning as I talk you through what we do. So, reading the problem, Mr. Davis has been checking the income receipts for his 2 businesses. He knows that one has earned £54,172 this year, and the other has earned £23,154. Can you work out what their total income would be? Okay, so straight away I'm looking at this word total. That's telling me that I'm going to be putting these numbers together. It's talked about two businesses, and he wants to know what the total amount is for those two businesses. I've also got pounds involved, so I will need to be using pounds as my unit later on, my unit of measure. So what I would first do is pick out the two important parts as well, which are the two numbers. Luckily, they have both got 5 digits, which helps me to use the column method nice and easily. So if we move down, I've got our first number here, and again I've got every digit in a box to make sure I've got it nice and clear, but also it helps me lining up with the correct place value. So I've got my ones and my tens and my hundreds and so on. So then below that I need to bring in my next number, and I put in add because I think by reading the problem that I'm going to be adding these two numbers together. And then it's just a matter of working through our column addition. Now if you're not sure about column addition, again you can go back and watch last week's video for another reminder, but I'm going to just go through it again as well quickly here. So we should have 2 add 4 would make the 6, 7 add 5, I've got a 2, 7 add 5 would make 12, so I carry my 1 over, my extra 10, so I've got 12 tens, becomes 100. So I've got 1, 1 and another 1 makes 3, 4 and 3 makes 7, and then finally I've got 5 add 2 makes 7. So in total I've got 77,326. Now that's not just my answer, okay? I need to remember that I'm going to need to put the pound sign back in and actually write my answer how he needs it, because it says, can you work out what their total income would be? Okay, let's move on to the next one. So again, I'm just going to explain a way of doing this one and picking out things that might become a problem. So before the final of the Cricket World Cup, there was a total of, let me just check, 652. So yeah, that's going to be 652, because I've got a comma, 652,720 fans who had attended the previous games. At the final, there were 31,842 fans. How many fans attended the Cricket World Cup altogether? Now straight away, this word is jumping out of me, altogether. And it's a word that we quite often see in these kind of problems. And it means I'm going to probably have to use add again. It's talking about previous and the final. So it's telling me that this larger number here is all of the fans that had began at the start of the kind of World Cup and just before the final. And they've got this amount added on at the end. So if I were to bar model it for it, maybe I would have my big amount, my small amount, and then find my total. But we're not going to use a bar model today. So I'm going to use column addition to add these two amounts up so I can find out all together how many fans attended. So I need my largest number first. Okay, now when I was reading through it earlier, it was a bit tricky because there are lots of digits. But if you take your time and read it, you can work out which numbers, which, and how to read the word out loud. So I've got 652,720. Now my next number has only got 5 digits. So I need to make sure I'm really careful when I'm putting it in, that I line it up from this side, from the right hand side, starting from my units and working my way across, so that every column has the correct place value. And then it's just a matter of working our way through and adding them up. Now the first two look fairly easy. I've got 0 add 2, which give me 2. 2 add 4, which will give me 6. 7 add 8. Now again, we're going to have to do some carrying across, because 7 add 8 is going to give us 15. And it would be too much to fit in this one box. All right, so I'm going to move this down and we'll have a little look. So that's where I've got my 15. And again, remember the 1 can go down there. And I add that onto my next one. So 2 add 1, add my other 1 gives me 4. And then move across. 5 add 3 gives me 8. and 6 add nothing is still 6. So that's my total number. But again, I need to think about my question, what was the kind of unit of measure that they wanted? So what the question was, how many fans? So this number is how many fans had attended the whole tournament. So my answer would be 684,562 fans. Okay, we're going to move on to the next page now, where we're going to work together to have a discussion about this problem. Now it says true or false, but it also says why. So if you're doing this at home, try and explain to an adult why you think it's true or why it's false. Give some reasoning, show some workings out, okay? And there's also a challenge here. Make your own true or false column additions. Can you make your own one? Or could you even do a column subtraction maybe as well? So what I'd like you to do is to pause the video and have a go at this on your own. And then when you're ready, start the video again and I'll help you talk through the answer and you can compare your ideas with mine. So pause the video now. Okay, well done. So, the first thing I do is to have a look at this and start just working out as if I was checking my answer. Okay, and the first thing that jumped out to me was I got 2 and 9, and I got a 3. And there's no workings out here, so again, I need to think carefully. 2 and 9, if I'm counting on from 9, I got 9, I got 10, and I got 11. I've not got 13, or I've not got 3. So I think this first column straight away gives it away. So my explanation would be that it's incorrect because 2 add 9 equals 11, not 13. So that's how I'd explain my answer. I hope some of you had a go at making your own one up and you could challenge an adult at home to have a go at it or somebody else in the house. Okay, well done. We're going to move on to the next page now where I'm going to explain a subtraction problem which has a bit of a different twist to it because you're actually given the answer and you need to try and find out what the calculation would be. Now, if you're really feeling keen, you could pause the video now and go and have a go at this and then unpause and see how I get on. So, first thing I need to think about is my column here. I need to end up with a 4 in my units column. Okay, now I could do that with, I've got to have single digit numbers in here. So I couldn't have 10 take away 6 to get 4, could I? I couldn't put a 10 in there. So I immediately need to think of 2 numbers in here that are single digit that would give me 4. So I went for 6 take away 2. Now you could have had your own 2 digits in there, had something else. Again, I need to look at my next column, and in my 10s, I've got a 2 as my answer. So my 2 digits here need to, when they take away, equal 2. And I went for 5 take away 3. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I've got something here that says 8. Now, like we said before, I can't have a 10 here take away 2 to give me 8, which would be the right calculation, but it wouldn't fit. So I'm going to have 2 single digit numbers in here. Now this took me a little bit of time of just trying different digits out and thinking, how could I get 2 single digits in here but end up with 8? And I came across the idea that I'm going to actually have to have a number here that I go and exchange from the number in the next column, because I need to get that amount from over there to give me a sort of 2 digit number here. So you'll see what I mean when I take this away. So I tried out thinking if I had 17 take away 9, I'd end up with 8. So that means I would have started with a 7 take away 9, which I can't do. So I had to go across to the next column and borrow it. So I've imagined that I borrowed from this column, or exchange, sorry, and I put my 1 there, and now it works. 17 take away 9 is 8. And I need to remember then, when I went to my next column, I'm going to be taking a number away from there, and then it's going to be 7. So this is very tricky. This, like I said, this took me a little while, a lot of growth mindset and working out, taking my time. So when I went to my next column, I chose to have an 8 So when I took one off, then I end up with a 7. Take away 0 would leave me with a 7. So again, this whole area took a little bit of trial and error, a bit of playing around and seeing what would work and what wouldn't. And once you've kind of worked it out once, the next time you do it, these kind of problems become much easier. And in my last column, I could choose any 2 single digits. That would give me 3. So I went for 6 and 3. Okay. This is another solution that you could have had. And there are many, many more different solutions. But if you look, you'd end up with the same answer, just different digits. Okay. Well done. Okay, we're going to move on to the next slide now, and I'm going to give you a chance to have a go at a question on your own. And it's a subtraction question. And it just simply says, select the correct answer. And I'll leave it up to you to work out what your best way of doing this is. And then we will check through the answers below. So pause the video now. Okay, well done. So you should have worked it out and had a little go and found that the correct answer was, in fact, 31,230. I haven't shown all my workings out here, but I've got 7 take away 7, 0. 1, I can't do that, take away 8, so I'd have to borrow, which would have left me with a 5 there and 11 there. So that's why I got my 3. 5 take away 3 is 2. 4 take away 3 is 1. 4 take away 1 is 3. Okay. Again, taking your time and working your way through it. Right, well done. We're going to move on to a question where we're going to work together again. So a bit of our turn. So the question says, find the value of C. Now, it's given me 2 amounts and this strange bit below. Now, we have seen this before, and it's simply a bar model. So these 2 amounts add up to this amount. Okay. So I think that we have to do some addition. Now, I'd like you to pause the video and have a go at this yourself. See what you come up with. And then unpause the video and have a look at what I do. Okay, so pause the video now. All right, well done. So, by looking at this bar model, I know these 2 numbers make up the same amount as this one, this C. So I'm going to do an addition. Again, I need to make sure my digits are in each box. Luckily, again, I have 2 5-digit numbers, so they will line up quite nicely. And I always work my way through. So 5 add 4 will give me 9. 4 add 8. This is where I'm going to have too much to fit in the box. So I'd end up with 12. 2 add 3, add my 1 on, gives me 6. 1 add 2 is 3. And 4 add 1 is 5. Okay. So I found the answer, and it's 53,629. Okay, so we're going to move on to another problem where we work together, very similar to this one. Now, this one has given us the whole amount at the bottom, and we need to find the value of B. It's also given us a small amount here. So I'm thinking it's probably not going to be add, because I don't want to put these 2 numbers together, because I'd end up with something much bigger than B. So I'm thinking it's going to be subtraction. So I'd like you to think on that, go away, have a little go. So pause the video and go and have a little go at that yourself. See if you can do a subtraction and come up with an answer for B. Okay, well done. Let's see what we got. So I went with having the large number at the top and taking away my smaller number. And I ended up with 8 take away 4 gives me 4. 6 take away 4 was 2. 2, I couldn't do 2 take away 4, so I had to go and exchange. So 12 take away 4 gave me 8. That left me with a 5 here. So 5 take away 2 is 3. And 8 take away 1 is 7. Okay. I could have also done it a different way. I could have tried to work out, I can always do it by checking, sorry. So I've got my small number here, that's what I want to end up with. and I could have done it this way. I'm going to move all these out of the way. And I could take away the answer I came up with. I should end up with that number, shouldn't I? And working my way through it, I did. So I know that my three numbers work together. So I know that the value of B is my number here, 73,824. Okay, well done. So we're going to move on to looking at our steps for success when we go off and solve our problems independently. So just some key things to remember. Read the problem carefully. Pick out any key information, words like altogether, sum, difference. Give yourself an idea of what you're going to be doing, and then decide if you are adding or subtracting to find your answer. Sometimes you might have to do more than one add. You might have to do an add, then a take away. But as long as you decide, that's fine. Choose a method, how you're going to do it. Some things can be done mentally first, and then a formal column method. Number 4, work out your answer. And don't forget to include the correct unit of measure. So kilograms, pounds, we had fans earlier, because that's important for making sure your answer is in the right context. And number 5, check if your answer makes sense with the question. Read it back. Does that number make sense? You could also go back and check it like I just did by using the inverse or by doing a different way. So lots of different things to remember as you go through your problems. Okay, so there are 3 different chilies coming up. You can choose which ones you want to do. You could start on chili 1 and work your way through all of them. You can start straight away on chili 3. Don't mind. This is the chilies for today and some extra vocabulary that we've come across. So more or less, altogether, difference in sum. We've sort of covered those a tiny bit. Sum means altogether, the amount. Difference is usually subtraction. Okay. So I'm going to show you your chilies now, and you can have a go at the chilies. So here we have chili 1. You could pause the video now and have a go at these. And we have chili 2. You could pause the video now and have a go at these. And we have chili 3. Okay, and if you feel like you've done your chili and you want a bit of an extra challenge, there are a couple of extra things that I've got. So on BBC Bite Size, you go to this website and there are lots of different learner guides. There are loads of clips just to give you a bit more on column addition. And I've also found a real fun game on Top Marks called Addition and Subtraction. Just a bit of fun to have a go at. Okay, so good luck today, guys. Well done. And we look forward to seeing all of your work sent in and hearing from you soon. Bye.